Item D, receive report on education and enforcement activities for the 2009 fireworks season. Chief Telford.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. I didn't bring any props with me, so I don't have any fireworks with me tonight. However, I do have Division Chief George Devendorf with me, as my colleague in the fire department is in Millbury tonight. Tonight, I'll be providing you the education and enforcement proposal for the 2009 4th of July season. As you're aware, the use of safe and sane fireworks and dangerous fireworks on the 4th of July presents a greater risk to safety and property loss and creates an increased demand on public safety services. Last year, we had about a 33% increase in firework-related calls. We attribute that to 4th of July falling on a Friday. However, this year it falls on a Saturday, and we anticipate a similar high volume of calls. In an effort to reduce the safety concerns associated with the illegal use of fireworks, including safe and sane illegal use, the police and fire departments are proposing to implement a strategy similar to last year's plan and what we've done in previous years. This includes running an aggressive educational and enforcement campaign. The education of zero tolerance approach will begin with a mandatory meeting hosted by the police and fire departments for all of the nonprofit groups that have applied for permits. If a group is not in attendance, they will not be allowed to sell fireworks. Some of the information that we cover at this meeting includes the permit requirements, the safety requirements for the booth, and the regulations regarding the sale of safe and sane fireworks. The permit application deadline is May 1st. The fire department will take the lead in the educational campaign by providing flyers throughout the community. Safety messages will be included in the utility billing, announcements on cable TV, and a safety message in the Focus newsletter. A joint effort with the fireworks industry will provide information to all the elementary, middle, and high schools in San Bruno. Firework booths will be authorized to open June 28th only after they have met the requirements set in the municipal code and only after the booth has passed a fire inspection. Booths will continue to receive inspection over the 7 days that sales are allowed. Fire will also staff an additional engine company on the 4th to respond to possible increased activity. For the police component, we will again have an officer visit all those areas where we've experienced high numbers of complaints in the past. The officers will make contact with those residents and advise them of our zero tolerance approach. We will also deploy officers in the days leading up to the 4th of July, and those officers are specifically on patrol for use of illegal fireworks. On the 4th of July, we are going to require all of our personnel to work on that day, with the exception of those scheduled for a 40-hour vacation. The added staff will be assigned to enforcement teams who will partner with additional resources brought in from neighboring jurisdictions. This allows our regularly scheduled staff to handle normal routine calls for assistance and requests to provide emergency services, while we have separate enforcement teams solely to deal with the increase in firework calls. As with previous years, officers will take strict enforcement with individuals who are caught using illegal fireworks in violations of our Safe and Sane ordinance. The estimated cost of the proposed education and enforcement campaign is $62,420, including public works costs attributed to cleanup. In your staff report, we've identified and estimated those costs for public works at $2,000. This could rise to an estimated $7,000 depending on the conditions for the 4th of July. As you remember, last year we had extremely hot weather, which created extremely dangerous conditions for fireworks. What we did is we deployed additional public works staff and park and rec staff to watch those critical areas for us. It may happen again this year depending on the weather. The costs associated with the 4th of July campaign are reimbursed from assessments levied on the sale of safe and sane fireworks. All of last year's vendors covered the $58,700 in city expenditures. It's important to note that these costs are based on the increased activity generated by fireworks. For example, we don't ask reimbursement for our normal patrol staff. We only ask for reimbursement where those officers are solely out there handling the over 200 calls we received last year during the firework campaign. The recommendation before you tonight will once again allow the police and fire departments to continue with the education and enforcement efforts, and also allow Public Works additional resources needed for the cleanup of the 2009 fireworks season. Again, I have Division Chief Devendorf with me, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions from council? City Manager?
Just one additional comment, and that is in the report, there is a identification of the costs that were actually incurred in 2007, which is $48,000. The number for 2008 is $58,576. That is the actual cost incurred in 2008, which is actually very close to the number that we're projecting for the 2009 season.
I thank you both departments for your efforts. Last year we had a relatively quiet, safe event. I know it was busy, but hopefully we have that same type of safety factor again. Councilmember Rivera?
Through the chair, you mentioned that last year you employed public works staff to watch over certain areas.
Yes, there were high fire danger, and we had several open spaces that we just couldn't cover with police and fire personnel. So we utilized those personnel.
Is that an extra cost? Because I don't see that in any of the. I mean, the only cost I have for public works is $2,000 for cleanup.
Correct.
So
That was an extra cost last year that was recovered, and that is a possibility again this year, depending on the weather conditions.
Is that when you're saying could go up to 7,000?
Correct.
Okay.
Through the chair, very quick. We're still going to do, if I'm understanding, the public service announcement, posting signs in the parks that it is illegal. We also did a flyer, if I'm not mistaken, last year when there was a sale, a transaction made at the booth that was handed in the bag that was of fireworks that was handed out to each participant so that they knew the rules and regulations of the community. Is that still occurring?
Yes, and that will occur again this year.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation, and again, we only hope that we have as safe, if not sane, season this year. Okay?